Album review. Today's album is Royal Blood, Royal Blood. We're joined today by Joe.
Hi.
Will.
Yo.
Aidan.
Royal Blood.
And myself, Denver. I thought this was a very, hard-hitting album.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Punched in the fucking nose.
But luckily, I always wear nose protection after my last accident.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what was that? Can you describe in detail what happened? What year was it?
This was 4 years ago.
Right, okay. 1996.
1996.
Right. After committing several war crimes in the state of Uganda.
I've now moved into football.
Okay.
Well, you wear a shin guard over your nose?
Yeah.
I have to now after this incident.
The problem is you've spoiled the story now, Joe. We didn't know where it was going based on Denver saying I had a nose guard.
Well, so essentially, I had a nose guard for this album to prevent further nose injury because of how hard hitting it was. Because I was like, whoa, I heard the first song. I was like, whoa, I need to put my guard on. Or because, imagine the scene, it's 1996 or whenever we said it was.
Yeah, 96. After the war crimes.
I'm on the bench for a football team. We'll call them Crash United.
Okay.
And it's not going well. They need to bring on super sub Denver. So it's like, no worries. I'm full of energy. Everyone else is tired. This is going to be great.
Get out there, champ, and I slap your ass.
I get out there and I'm like a terrier, just chasing the ball down every which way. It's going really well. And then the ball's coming to me. I can see it. Well, it's not quite coming to me. It's been cleared from a goal kick. But then there's another player coming towards it. So we're both going to challenge for it. He volleys it.
Right.
Because he's closer to the ball than me. He gets there first. He volleys it with no bounce straight at my face.
Okay.
And then it fucked up my nose. And I had nosebleed and I had to get subbed off because I was bleeding on everyone.
Wait, immediately you got subbed back off. Get out there, champ.
I was on the pitch
champ.
I was on the pitch about 2 minutes.
Good game.
That's why you have a massive nose.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, it's shrunk now because it's a bit buckled on the inside. Like my nose is twisted inside now.
Ouch. Is this a true story?
This is a true story, yes. Only it didn't happen in 1996, obviously.
What are you talking about?
It happened in 1957.
Oh, you thought he was making that all
up. I did as well. I thought this was leading to something.
That's a legit story.
Oh, fuck.
And it wasn't for Trash FC either.
It was so truthful. And it was actually Manchester United.
I am. Wayne
Rooney.
Oh, and that's why you speak funny, because you got hit in the face.
Exactly. That's why I sound so nasally now. I've forever got one nostril blocked.
Do you reckon that Wayne Rooney has to ask his wife to read him bedtime stories? I just get that impression from him.
He's like a man baby.
He really is. Like, you made me a story.
I served someone in my shop the other day whose last name was Rooney. And he said, I said, are you related to the man? And you know when you expect someone to say something funny back, so you already have a thing to say, but then they don't say something funny. So he went, no, actually I have no one, all my family are dead and all this. And I went, that's great. And he was like, what do you say? I was like, sorry, say that again, mate.
I love that you loaded a laugh in the chamber.
I was like, I'm ready for something funny.
Your family's dead. God damn.
Fucking hell, Joe.
So anyway, yes, nose guard on. And because of how hard hitting this album is, I feel like it's a very unique sound. Because of the whole, just playing everything on a bass, or trying to make basically a guitar sound with a bass. Because what's interesting as well, when I found out most of the songs he figures out and discovers what he's going to play on a guitar, and then afterwards changes it to a bass to try and replicate it.
It's cool.
So it creates this very unique sound. I don't know anyone else who does this thing for every song. They never change it up in that regard, which is one of the criticisms I would say, that their sound is kind of I feel like it's limited in what they can do with it. Like, they are literally maximizing what they can do out of a bass and drums. And I feel like that's why almost the album's so short, because I feel like if it was any longer, like, kind of a bit samey.
I mean, I feel like you've literally brought up every point I wanted to say, so I don't think I need to review the album. Well, that was it. I think you just summarized everything I needed to say in about 2 minutes.
Because, like I say, I did really enjoy this album. I'm glad it wasn't any longer. I feel like it was perfect in this length.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Because even though every song does sound, it doesn't sound different, but obviously what saying is different, and it does have their own like unique hooks. But I feel like because there's no instrument changes up, or they're very limited in what they can change up, there's almost like so many combinations of what they can do. I kind of worry. I haven't heard the other album they did as much, but I kind of worry for if they make a third album of will they have to finally change it up, or will that completely like will people be mad basically? Because
I reckon they'll probably like end up just putting a lot more production value in it, because like you say, it is just drums and bass, and like the songs don't have any like really extra. They have some bits, but they don't have like any extra production on it. You know, it's just the recording, drums, bass, and vocals, and that's it. I reckon their newest album, they'll start bringing in like electronic stuff and trying to make it more interesting that way.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting that Denver brings it up, because I also thought that, and I went to the second album and listened to it a bit, and it is basically just the same stuff, just
definitely
slightly different. The only one that I listened, there was one that came up that was called "I Only Lie When I Love You," and like that was the only one that really mixed it up super hard, but the rest of them were just the same sort of thing. I
change on it, hasn't it? That's quite different.
No, this one's got loose change on it. This one's
loose changes on this
album.
This
one is loose change. Yeah,
I'm thinking of something else. Ignore me.
But yeah, I think because of that, it'd be hard for them to do a third album. I reckon, because if they were working on it,
how do they make it different? Like, or if they change it up, like if they suddenly go, right, we're going to actually put a guitar in this, or we're going to have some. You can have trombone.
You can have a fan with like the royal blood tattoo on it. It's like, I wish I could rip my fucking skin off.
Yeah, like
like the Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, just like that guy.
Like, I feel like they're kind of screwed either way, right? They've either got. I feel like if they make another album, they've either got to change it up and it'll piss off everyone, but maybe they'll find a new sound, right? Or they stick with it and people will be like, "Oh, it's good, but not as good as their old stuff."
Yeah.
See, I think I don't think they're. And I have no proof to back this up, but I don't think their fans are as like hard hitting as like a Bring Me the Horizon fan. But like
no, maybe.
But like Bring Me the Horizon do like extreme differences. Like they went from like deathcore, sounding like your ears were being raped, to like kind of modern rock, and that's why people really liked it for the emo shit, and now they're not really emo anymore. Whereas I don't think that Royal Blood have that extreme. They are kind of just modern rock as it is. I think the only way they'd piss off their fans is if they went more metal, you know?
Yeah, like went harder.
Yeah.
It's like, are they going to have like that Catfish in the Bottom effect, isn't it? It's like where every one of their albums has basically just been the same fucking album, one after the other. And
literally.
And Catfish has stuck to that, and I feel like they've dropped off the fucking like. You know,
but then the thing is, it's like a lose-lose situation. Like you do the same thing, and people are like, "Oh, we're going to stop listening. This is boring." And then if you change it up, you're going to piss someone off. Like no matter what you do.
Which is why in CT we're dropping Joe.
We're changing it up.
Changing it up.
Forever evolving.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a weird middle ground. Like I think they can change it up a bit, but then it's like maybe introducing like electronic or a bit.
It could be interesting if they threw in like featured artists, like how they would meld that into this sound.
I think they're going to start going towards a Don Broco sort of sound. That's the sound that I think they'll start going towards.
Those two, the Royal Blood and Don Broco are probably like the most popular modern rock bands. Would you say? There's not many other artists that do that kind of heavy hitting guitars. Type music anymore.
That's brave.
And that's like their
Royal Blood,
they're
heavy
like
hit
the most modern intake on rock, I feel, but it works, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a band called Modern Rock.
Oh, well, that's kind of cheating. What do they do? Rap.
They have 31 monthly listeners.
I don't know.
That's more than us.
Rock is such like a wide genre, though, isn't it? Like,
what the fuck? Are you calling rock fat?
Yeah, I fucking am.
That's so disrespectful.
It's got a lot of beef,
bro.
You can't say that about rock. We just did a Lizzo album.
You can't say that.
What are you talking about?
Can't say that.
Lizzo's rock.
Rock's my world, anyway.
Foo Fighters are not Foo Fighters. Shinedown. Have you ever heard of Shinedown? They're apparently their biggest rock band at the minute in 2020.
How are you finding this?
He's just
I'm on a thing called Ranker.
Pretty sure he's
Shinedown got some good songs actually.
Comment section.
Foo Fighters are second, and AC/DC apparently are third.
Yeah, but not exactly that modern.
Can we just get on with the fucking review? We're just looking up.
What is this?
Okay, sorry, yeah. So yeah, I feel like they have maximized what they can get out of their sound here, like without adding any extra instruments or anything else. Like the variations, it's almost like I feel like because they've only got 2 instruments. Say if they had like a combination of codes that they can make of songs, but all the numbers they have is 0, 1, and 2, and they're just they're just trying to mix them up as much as possible to try and create difference in the songs. But I still love them, and I found it really difficult to pick a favorite. Like I kind of just have like there's about 6 songs I really like on this album, and they can kind of be in any order. It's almost random what I picked as top 3 here. Because like other than maybe my favorite,
to be honest,
because I just was like, there's not enough individuality about some of them where you're like they're kind of all the same vibe. And the same with least favorites as well. I didn't dislike any song on this album. I just kind of had 6 I liked most, and then 4. I guess I was about to say 6 again, but there's only 10 songs. 6 I liked the most, and then 4 that I just didn't like as much. And part of that may be to do with some of the ones that I've heard a lot on the radio and stuff, like on Radio 1. So I was kind of, again, that whole thing of, because I already know that song quite well, I kind of want to go towards a bit of a different sound. Least favourite, I went with You Can Be So Cruel. Just because I thought it had a bit less going for it. I thought it was a bit flatter, a bit simpler, even though that simple isn't necessarily bad, but then I thought like the sound didn't really alter for the chorus. He kind of just said the line, "You can be so cruel," or "Why can you be cruel?" I can't remember what he says, but it kind of the song didn't change up for the chorus. It was kind of just the same riff throughout, which is on a lot of the songs, but they've kind of changed. They often did something to sort of exaggerate the chorus, whereas that I feel they didn't do anything. That song kind of just existed while he sang over the top of it, you know. Third favourite was Bloodhands.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the few songs where the song builds. It is a bit of a simpler song again, which I did criticise You Can Be So Cruel for, but I really loved the vocal hook in that song. It kind of
what? No, I would have pinned that as one of the worst. It was nearly my least favourite.
It's my bottom 2.
I really like that song. Just because it was one of the few that had a really good vocal hook, so it kind of made it stand out. So I always looked forward to that moment in the song.
See, I understand what you mean about that vocal hook, but I'm still like, it is like one of the worst songs on the album.
I think like if the riff isn't very like, because that's the one thing about Royal Blood, their riffs kind of what bring out a lot of the songs because they are so all such a similar style.
Sorry, Joe, please. Your fucking chair.
Sorry, I've got to
trying to talk, and it's
it needs some WD-40. Sounds like
the chair's just screaming every time.
Sounds like a squeaky door in a horror movie, doesn't it?
It's just screaming from all the weight.
Well, normally it wouldn't be a problem, but obviously we can't edit out the chair.
I'm done.
Sit still.
Sorry, my dog was on my lap. I had to let him.
No, that's not true.
It is actually is true.
I can it's one of those things, right? Because, like I say, my top 6 songs would kind of be bundled all together. I could do the same thing review, and I wouldn't even mention it, but it was one of my favorites just because of that vocal hook, and because of that, it kind of almost because the rest of the song was simpler. It's the whole thing of like Will Davey, different is better. I think situation here, and just because when picking through my 6 favorites of like which ones do I put in my top 3, I was like, well, this one's just different, so therefore it's going in there, you know.
Classic Will Davey mentality.
And I really, considering I don't listen to the lyrics, I do like a vocal hook, and it even though the vocal hook isn't the word bloodhounds, I don't think it even says bloodhound.
I don't know. I only listened to it 3 times.
Usually I listen the blood on my hands, I think he says, but not blood hands.
Sorry, Will, what's that?
So, like, usually I listen to the lyrics of things or whatever, but this is the one thing I think there was a bit of a downfall with this. I didn't pay attention to any of the lyrics. I didn't find any of them like very. It didn't.
I mean, it's kind of a bit of, I don't know, a bit of nonsense, maybe. Like,
that's the thing. I think he struggles to like accentuate his words sometimes. So like it'll get to like the chorus or whatever, and he'll just be like mumbling them. What was one of the songs? There was one that was like he did it really badly, and I still don't know what he says even now.
Yeah, like I don't really know what any of the songs are about. I should have probably looked up the lyrics a bit more, but
usually I listen out for him, but there's like none of the. I really like the music and stuff, but like none of the actual lyrics stood out to me. Like,
I feel like there's not many messages in the songs or anything.
No. The lyrics are quite simple, probably.
I feel like he just made the riffs and was like, what words will go along with this?
We might be wrong. There might be a lot more to it, but they just never really.
It never stood out.
No.
So yeah, for me it was different,
like, especially when you compare it to the last album.
Which was all about the message.
It is all about the message and what it meant. I think that's probably what's done it for me, because they go back and listen to this, and it's more for me. This is more about the actual backing, and it's really what he's saying.
For me, I was kind of indifferent to it. Like I did listen to the lyrics, and I found myself just kind of recapping it very quickly, and it all came back. So I was like singing along to him and stuff. But obviously, there was like. Sorry, I'm dying. Obviously, there's like no like massively powerful meanings or anything like that behind them. But I felt like it didn't really matter. Like it's not that type of music. It's just fucking feel cool music, and
it
doesn't really matter what the lyrics are. Just fucking do it.
Just thrash out.
You know what I mean?
Second favorite was "Come On Over." I thought I had a great hook. It sounds meaty throughout the song, and it's one of the few songs that. I feel like constantly throughout it's like building and then dipping and then rebuilding again with instruments, and they're all like they're basically trying to maximize what they can get out of the sound, I feel like, on that song. And the same with my favorite, which is "Loose Change," because it just has amazing riff throughout. And
what?
Loose Change.
This is the most bizarre top 3 ever.
What the fuck are you saying?
I like Loose Change, but there's so many better songs than these.
Just for reference,
many better songs.
Loose Change is literally my worst. What? What the fuck? What?
I like the song, but like,
it is a good
song. I thought it was so
annoying.
It was such an annoying hook. It was such an annoying hook in Loose Change. Like, listen to the way Joe's singing it.
I liked how the instruments cut it in and out. Like they actually had times where just the bass was playing or just the drums were playing on their own. I liked it.
I like the little breakdown, to be fair.
Yeah, it's one of the few songs that changes itself up a bit throughout. And there we go. That's my top 3.
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, but fair enough.
Oh, and I love the ending change sound at the end.
Oh yeah, it's always pretty cool.
Is that?
I always used to think. I used to listen to it in my car a lot, and I used to genuinely think like I fucking dropped change on the floor, like I fell out of my pocket all the time.
No, daddy's money. What am I going to tell Papa?
You don't hear the sound of notes dropping on the floor.
Joe doesn't care about his dad's money.
Notes. That's true.
My big wad.
He just hears the sound hit the floor. He's like, the peasants will pick it up later.
Daddy, pick up the money, please.
Let me clean my car.
Daddy,
get the Polish people to clean my car. Joe, you can't say that. That's racist.
Yeah, what's weird about that is, I said about my top 6. Loose Change was always the best though out of all of them.
Oh my god! No,
what? I'm so confused.
Not
It's a good song, but compared to just some of the others, I don't know. It's fair enough. I suppose if you've heard a lot of the others a lot more, that might have swayed your
I think this is partially it. Like, I feel like there's maybe. I mean, I'll be interested to see if you guys end up going for it. But I feel like there's 4 the songs that everyone thinks are the best.
Yeah.
And maybe I've just heard them too much for them to be my favorites. I don't know.
I think that me and Denver have completely swapped reviews from from last review.
Usually, you two agree on things, and not just lately.
We've just jumped. No, I just mean specifically the last, this review and the Dermot Kennedy review. We've completely swapped because I think that Royal Blood are basically a shtick taken as far as it can go.
Right.
And throwing out the main guy isn't actually a great singer. I just think that the way that they make the lead line follow his vocals just accentuates his voice.
So you're saying
making it sound better than it is, kind of thing. I also think that their music is lacking in flavor and the style that they're trying to perform, kind of thing.
I feel like it's very steak and chips.
It's totally
steak and chips, but for some people it's just not enough.
It's just that.
And I did think that for a while, to be fair, that it was always lacking in other sound. But I've sort of grown to like it.
But the thing is, I know that that's kind of their whole deal in it, but it limits what they can realistically do with what they've got.
For sure.
That's not to say that they can't write well, because all their songs do actually, or for the most part, have incredibly memorable hooks, even if they can be a little bit jarring or whiny or loose changey or any of the above. But at the end of the day, I listened to this album the amount of times we obviously needed to, and many of the songs ended up being nothing songs to me. I always ended up going back to their well-known songs as the best ones, because everything else was just mind-numbing, nothing, just whiny, screechy drummer. Hats off to him. Good effort.
Yeah.
Fucking good drummer. That's about it. So yeah, worst was definitely Loose Change. It's just an annoying hook. It's so whiny. I hated it. And I especially hated the sound of change at the end.
Particularly like that.
It was like money.
Reminds me of home.
And then I kind of just went literally down the list, which is genuinely how it ended up being, because number 3 was Out of the Black. I like the energy in the song and the chorus. And the verses, for the most part, were still okay in that one. Number 2 for me was Figure It Out. It's fine. I cannot tell what he's saying in the chorus at all. But because he says, when I go, and then he goes, figure it out. When I go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's what I mean when I say that he's just really mumbly. And not only that, again, he's not even really singing. He's just sort of shouting it in a lot of the choruses, which is a shame because, I'm not going to say he probably has a good voice. He probably doesn't. He probably got punched in the throat back in 1996.
I feel like Figure It Out, it's as if he wrote the lyrics first and he's rushing to say them really quick. In the verses.
And we need a drinking game where we drink along to figure it out. How many times he says figure it out in this song. Because it's at the end of every verse line as well.
Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think Figure It Out.
I wonder when he's going to figure it out.
It has one of the best breakdowns in the entire album. This was the first Royal Blood song I'd heard. When it came out as a single. Seeing it on 4 Music. Do you remember when that was a thing?
Yeah.
No.
4 Music.
I was all about Tim Westwood TV.
Tim Westwood?
Yeah. Tim Westwood.
Was it one Sam and Mark did? Oh, was it literally Sam and Mark something?
I'm pretty sure they did 9/11, didn't they?
Sam and Mark's Big Friday Wind-Up.
Wow.
TBC.
I bet they work in Tesco's now.
Probably. They're probably failures.
They began a tour of Butlin's holiday camps, February 2017.
Oh, they do holiday shows, do they?
Oh, TMI, that's what it was.
I like the idea that they're just like, who remembers us? And it's only like the old people in the audience, like, yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
You were the one that made little Chris open that yogurt with bare hands. You prick.
Doing pretty well now, little Chris.
Yeah, he's dead.
No, it's not. He's Post Malone, remember?
I thought we were going down the route of like being dead is good, but like, yeah, we can do whatever.
Sometimes dead is better.
What a saying.
First favourite, Little Monsters. It's the only one that's right. I like the contrast of the slower moments in the verses, and then like it's got a relatively catchy chorus.
I literally already wrote "Come on over" in there because I thought you said your
I picked them pretty much in order. They are literally in order down the list, but they're not like just three crammed together. No,
not in order at all.
I'm going to eat your ass, bro. What are you talking about? They are in order, aren't they? You got Out of the Black is literally the first one, then Figure It Out is the next one, and then Little Monsters is the third one.
Yeah, but I count.
What are you saying?
I count from the first song at the top, you know. So.
You try and correct me again, and we're going to have issues. We're basically the leaders of CT, but I can quite easily turn this car around.
Call a vote.
I'm going to divorce you. Is that how that works?
Little Monster was in my favourite.
If we were the parents of CT, would I be the mum?
Yes.
Who would be the favourite child?
Will.
Fair enough.
Oh,
and you're the family dog. Because we just point at it and go, look, sometimes it does tricks. And you're like, for fuck's sake, Joe, out! Get out!
Do you like my song I've made?
Oh yeah, he's like the kid that did macaroni paintings. Look at what I drew. Oh, great, Joe. Wow.
Can I have a biscuit?
No,
there you go.
No, you can't, Fatty.
I want another biscuit.
Come on, Fatty, don't be silly. You've got the greatest job haircut.
Go in, lock him in the attic again.
I'm running away.
The attic.
The soundproof room.
The problem is you said that so convincingly as if your parents did that to you as a punishment. Like, what, everyone gets locked in the attic, don't they, when they do something wrong?
Some people have noticed that, but we had the bot in the attic.
Lock them in there with all like the fucking cobwebs and shit.
Like a fucking solitary environment.
That's so fucked up that your parents would do that. Get in the attic, dumb.
I'm in one of those straight jackets.
I don't want to go in the attic. That's where you keep the clown statue.
I think
we don't own a clown statue.
A lot of character building was done in the attic, I tell you now.
I think, yeah, maybe. Yeah, anyway, yeah, overall, like Denver said at the beginning, the album being short played to its strengths because I think I would have just been bored. I mean, it had enough variety to hold up, but even then, just barely enough. Yeah, I didn't like. I've heard this album before, so I kind of knew what to expect, and I was just as underwhelmed as when I heard it originally. It's a meh album.
Well,
thank you.
It's interesting going back to this album because obviously I pretty much know every song on the album, and like you say, listened to it ages ago, and I'd be a huge fan of them. I kind of forgot they existed for a while, to be honest, until seeing them at Leeds Fest last year.
Here we go again. I saw them live, so I like them more.
No,
pay to win.
They were really good live, but there was a weird moment with the drummer, which I can't remember if we've talked about an album review before, where he tried to get because the drummer's obviously very good, but he downed like a bottle of Hennessy on stage. I think
and he was fucking hammered.
He was absolutely smashed out of his head, and he tried to get the audience to clap along to his drum beat, right? But he kept getting faster, right? And then
it just became a round of applause.
And then the crowd would get faster, but then it sounded like we were clapping him, and then he was getting angry. because he was like, it just wasn't working. But he was just so smashed that I couldn't tell what was going on, to be honest. That was an interesting moment, but still, they were still really good live, and the crowd was awesome for it. The album, going back and listening to it, I still really, really like it, but I've noticed flaws that I probably didn't when I was a bit younger. I think generally, like, it's a weird dynamic because you could go to like certain albums because you're gonna come out of it feeling good, because usually it's like it's happy. Well, this has like the same effect, but it's not because they're like happy songs. They're just like, what's the word? They're almost upbeat in their own weird way, even though they're quite deep.
I'd say they're upbeat, yeah.
You kind of come out of them feeling in a good mood, like you want to do something.
But they're energetic. They're not really like, I wouldn't class them as upbeat.
No, that's probably the better word for it. They're like, they get you pumped rather than.
Yeah, like it's more of like you come out of it. You don't come out of it thinking, "Oh, what a wonderful day." You think, "Oh yeah, let's fucking go."
Yeah, exactly. And I quite like that because there's not too many albums that I think have that effect. I think they're a great take on modern rock, but like you've all said, like I do fear for the future for them and just how they can really switch things up, because it could just go. I think it could go two ways. They're just going to die out if they're not careful. I hope they don't. I hope they surprise us all, because I think they're good and they're obviously very talented, and it's quite cool how they've become this huge band from just two people, and yet they're loud. If you know, it's like quite. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but they're powerful with just the two of them. So imagining what they could do with like a 4-piece would be really cool. So hopefully, maybe they'll go into something like that where they might increase the band so they can do more. I don't know.
Oh, Royal Blood.
The thing is, the minute they add a guitar player, they've kind of lost their.
I don't think
their
so.
thing.
Royal Blood shtick is that there's just two guys and it's a bass and a drummer.
I get that, but like, I'm a Royal Blood fan, and I wouldn't be pissed off with it because I want them to keep going.
It just wouldn't feel right.
Could they add like a second bassist that with a bass that sounds different?
Oh, it sounds like a guitar.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I don't know. I feel like they need to add more for them to evolve.
And while they're at it, okay, what about they add a Slipknot drummer, but like the guy that bangs his head on the drums instead of like plays it properly?
Or they add a guitar, but they play it like a bass.
They rip two of the strings off it.
I like it.
Well, what if they all just use Code CT and get a Glock?
A Glock with Code CT, yeah.
See, bringing back references, boys. Now, how about that no shield, Denver?
I've taken it off now. It gets sweaty. I can't listen to Robo for too long.
It's one of those snowflakes that can't wear a mask.
Yeah. But I can't breathe properly.
Did you see the guy that ran a half marathon in 10 masks? And he was just to prove that he could absolutely breathe in it, and it wasn't it.
It's like a psychological thing.
Yeah. I think it is. It's like a restriction thing. There being something in front of your face is like, your body's like, danger, no breathing.
It's like claustrophobia, though, isn't it? It's like being in a small room. You won't die, but suddenly you panicking is like causing you stress, even though...
It's like feeling you can't breathe makes you... Like, if you start thinking about breathing, it makes it 10 times harder to breathe.
Now you're breathing manually.
And you feel like you're breathing too heavy, and then you feel like you're creeping everyone out in the room.
Now I'm thinking about breathing.
You're breathing heavy.
Oh, but that wasn't the thing that creeped them out, Joe. It was the fact that you brought up child pornography first. And then started heavy breathing.
Way too quiet in a room.
Way too quiet in a room is walk into the room and then say, you're wondering why I brought you all here, and then start heavy breathing.
Lock's door.
So this album, Will.
So this album, I'm talking of changing things up though, because I think the only issue is with his voice. I don't think they could change it up too much. I don't think his voice is suited to like a slower song. I don't know how that would work. So I feel like he needs like
Fuck's sake.
What the fuck, Joe?
What
is it? Are you trying to drink like a McDonald's?
Oh, I thought that was him heavy breathing.
Did you hear
No,
that?
he was sucking it.
Fucking hell. What do you mean, can we hear that? Fucking hell, Joe.
Sorry,
I thought
sorry,
that was
I'm
just in my mouth.
just gonna have a drink quick, sorry.
I thought the sound was just in your mouth. You know, you can hear stuff more in your mouth.
Oh my god.
I hate you so much. You're just you fucking suck.
I fucking dog shat on the floor again.
Get in the attic.
Get in the fucking attic, Joe.
I'm sorry, puppy eyes. Puppy eyes.
That doesn't work on me.
Oh.
I'm going to carry on with the review anyway.
Good idea.
I think the worst for me was between two, and it was up until like the last listen that I kind of had to choose because I just didn't know which one, because I thought they were the only two really weak songs in the album. That was Bloodhands and Careless, but I found that Bloodhands was the worst. I hate I think his voice doesn't work on it because it's like slower, and I think that kind of shows that it wouldn't work, his voice being slower, because it just doesn't have that same effect. For the chorus is really underwhelming, and while a lot of Royal Blood songs are kind of reliant on great riffs and stuff, I feel like as soon as you don't have quite an like a iconic, like memorable riff, it kind of takes everything away from that song, which is kind of why those two are the worst for me, because I feel like they've got the weakest riffs, and therefore it makes it worse for him singing over them. But I went with Bloodhands in the end because I just thought it was a bit nothing, and I wanted to skip it whenever that came on. Besides that, I think every other song is really strong. Like I say, they all just kind of work. So, like you've all kind of said, it's hard to pick a top three because actually, I don't know if Aidan said it, but because
I just went down the list pretty much.
I said it was hard, and Joe did.
Yeah, and it's because of that. You probably could listen to it again. It seemed a bit different, but I was pretty certain on my favourite. But third for me was Little Monster. I think it has the best solo in the entire album, and I can't quite believe that it's a fucking bass guitar, because it's unreal how much that just sounds like a general guitar. I think that's the song that the bass kind of sounds like the most like a guitar in the entire album, which I think shows that they could work with a guitar. You know, they don't need it to be what they have got it to. So I think the chorus is great. I love how it, like you said, Aidan, how it's slow, then it picks up and it just works really well. It's like contrast without having to have another singer or whatever. I feel like their contrast comes from the backing, which is really cool.
I mean, there's not many other places it could come from.
No.
They should have a keyboard, but it's like one of those synthesizer ones. So like they're playing it and it's just like...
Yeah.
Like that'd be fucking awful.
Oh, maybe we need Lizzo to start playing the flute.
He can play the piano.
Second for me, Out of the Black. That is an amazing song and such a fucking great start to the album. I feel like it's like an intro because it shows you what's to come. If you know what I mean, it kind of defines every song that pops up on this album.
It's a nice way of saying they're all the same.
No, but it's like you kind of know what you're going to get, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you do not like this sound, you're going to go, every song's the fucking same. They're all shit.
Didn't you say that every song was the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's just such a great start, and you just know it. If you weren't a fan or had never listened to them, you could listen to that song and be like, and it would kind of make you choose whether you're going to like them or not, because it defines pretty much who they are, which I think is really cool. And it's just a fucking great start to the album. Super pumped up. Probably makes you feel the most pumped out of the entire album. And I think, is it their most popular song, or is that Figure It Out?
Figure It Out.
Is it? Yeah, it is. But no, that's probably like the second I've heard of from them as well. It's just fucking great. But number one is 10 Ton Skeleton.
Yeah, I tell you what, that song surprised me.
I just think it has like the best melody in the entire album. It just pulls you in.
Melody doesn't really suit them.
The whole thing is upbeat. It's just fucking, and the rhythm, I think, of the kind of how like the guitar goes up and down. I don't know if I'm right in saying that, Joe. You'll have to fucking correct me. But how is like is it going from like one side of the guitar to the other? It feels like that. Probably isn't. But it kind of makes like you can imagine a crowd kind of like go into the exact flow of that song.
Sure.
The kind of you feel like you're going up and down with it, because the whole thing goes by that same philosophy, and I feel like it just works so well, and his vocals work so perfect with that song. It's just fucking great, and I forgot that song existed, and it was a bit of a surprise really because I was like, holy shit, I couldn't remember how good this song was, and it stood out right from the off. It's going to be my favourite. And I like that it's good because they probably could have ended with that song because Better Strangers I didn't remember too much. But
I think I'm just like, with this album, I think I like all the worst songs.
I think you do.
Man, that's so Will Davey.
Oh, it is. I think I'm becoming old Will Davey.
That's so Will Davey.
Yeah, I mean, he's right, though.
Because literally Better Strangers, one of my favourites.
Really?
Like, I think that like I can detect, that song's good. But because it's good, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Like 10 Ton Skeleton was one of my... one of the ones that wasn't my favourite 6.
I think one of the only personal issue I have with 10 Ton Skeleton is that just like the lead line is really whiny. Like it's super fucking high pitched and screechy. And because it sits there throughout the entire chorus as well, it's fucking annoying.
If you like it, then you're going to love it, aren't you? But then if you don't like it, it's going to...
No, that's different. I'm saying it's literally cutting off the vocals.
I think he can like flow to it so much better than in the others, and it kind of, because his voice is quite high pitch and thingy, it works. It's like it's in flow with each other, and I love it. It's just fucking hell. I don't know how to express it, but I think that's just like by far the best song on this album. It's just the rhythm; it pulls you in. But in general, the album, I think is really good. I still stand by it just being a great album. I probably rate it a slight bit lower than what I would have a few years ago, just because we've heard different... It's quite simplistic, which in a way is a credit to them, but in a way could be their downfall in the long run. But in general, it's a solid album, and it works so well that it's so short. Yeah, good.
I've actually just realised they have actually played 2 songs from their new album.
Have they?
Yeah. That isn't out yet. They're still in the process of making it. There's a song called Boiler Room and a song called King.
Oh yeah, fuck! I remember it about a year or 2 ago.
Album.
They played it at like a concert, didn't they?
Yeah, they've played it at Leeds. Yeah. They played one of them at Leeds, and they played the others in Germany. It's not like on Spotify or anything, but like you can Google it. And I've not heard it. Well, I've probably heard it at Leeds, but I didn't realise.
I've heard it, and I can remember not being that impressed with it. So there you go.
Start as they mean to go on, I suppose.
Probably. But maybe if, like, say they make another album and it doesn't do nearly as well, maybe then that'll force them to change the sound.
You have to do better now, Mr. The Royal Blood.
What's it called?
Boilermaker, sorry, not Boiler Room.
So...
And King.
Okay.
So I thought this album was fantastic.
Wow.
They're your favourite band, after all.
I really like Royal Blood.
Favourite band.
And I always have liked Royal Blood. Definitely not my favourite band.
Will doesn't think so.
But I have always liked them, to Will's disregard.
I don't believe you.
I do. And to be honest, everything like you've kind of said is kind of what I wanted to say anyway. I think all the songs kind of are the same, but they're all really strong. So it kind of, and because like it's so short, and all the songs are so strong. Most of the songs are so strong. That being a thing doesn't really affect it badly for me. It's just like they're all pretty good and it's short. I feel like if they're all pretty good and it went on for too long, then that's where I'm like, okay, it's getting a bit boring now. Because it's just all the same thing. Because they're all good they're all strong songs for the same reason. You know?
Yeah,
it's like saying, like, you can't be like, oh, his vocals were better in this one, or because it's just the same thing in every song. Same type of bass thing,
Very
same
small
type of vocal thing. So it's just kind of how much you like the melody kind of defines where you are, and because they all kind of have the same structure and stuff. You get what I'm getting at? You get what I'm getting at?
Not a clue.
I get you, Joe.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
Talk about one song and why you like it. It's usually for the same reason you like another song.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like for me, the top three, they're all the worst, so that's why I like them all.
Fantastic.
I like mine because they're like the most popular.
I like mine because they're the least popular.
Will likes it because they're different.
No?
My least favourite. There's no different song though.
They're so different.
So even my least favourites I still like listening to.
Really? I feel like I have not expressed my hatred enough for this.
My least favourite was Blood Hands.
Whoa.
Blood Hands.
And again, it's not because it's a particularly bad song. I feel like I picked that because it just lacks the energy that the other songs had. And I would still listen to it. There's nothing wrong with it. It was between that and what was the other song that I was kind of unsure about? Let me have a look. I was unsure about another song, but I can't remember what it was called. Oh, You Can Be So Cruel. I was unsure about that as well. Because it kind of has that same lack of energy type of thing. And
it really does.
I feel like a Royal Blood song always starts really kind of, like you say, hard hitting. And those songs kind of didn't.
Iconic.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just a weird change that didn't gel with me as much. But they're still great songs. Like, fair enough.
It's like the bad thing, you know. Maybe that's a bad sign, right? As soon as they stop doing their generic sound, it's like
as soon as they don't have it,
it's just not them anymore. You know,
if they don't have an amazing opening riff, it's kind of immediately like, oh, this is a bit flat. Like I say, with both those songs you said, Joe, I both put those as the simpler songs in.
Yeah. They have a lot of downtime. That's it, right?
Oh, the old downtown out of it.
I do think he has like a fantastic voice, and I think I've not seen them live, but I've seen videos of them live, and they look like fucking great showman type of thing. So I would love to see them live at some point. I don't know why you're laughing at me.
I like you saying great. The moment that you say great showman,
Mr. Showman.
This is the greatest
Mr. Showman.
I think they're as much as a showman as they can be, considering he has to play the bass and sing, and then the drummer is drumming, obviously. Like, to try and then still put on a exaggerated performance is kind of difficult.
That just shows you that bass is easy.
A bit of
but he plays it not
sound
easy.
Engineer knowledge for you, and I kind of touched on this last week. But so to get that sound on his bass, he obviously has a fucking ton of effects on his bass. The main one he uses is something that I used on a guitar the other week, and it sounded pretty cool. Called an octave divider. And what it does is that when you play the note, it plays like the octave of that note a couple of times more. So, like, say if I play like a da, it then plays da. Perfect octave. Vocal lessons are paying off. I've just been distracted by Big Cheese. Sorry.
Big Cheese?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Please don't put Big Cheese in the chat.
I don't understand.
So that kind of splits the bass up with the octaves, and you can do the same on the guitar, and it has that kind of thickness to it, and that's how it kind of has that kind of almost high pitched tone, you know. It has all that mixed in, and it's a really cool thing, and then obviously a fucking bunch of distortion messed on it as well. But it's quite interesting because go on.
Sorry, that was. I think they should do that with the drums. Maybe they should add like an electric drum kit. No. As in, like, if they were willing to change up their sound, but not like change their core principles to some of the two things, maybe they should have an electronic drum kit.
I think that would work pretty cool.
That way.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I think, and I just think it's really unique. Like, he's probably the only guy with a bass that does that mainstream. That does that with his bass constantly in a band that's popular anyway. And I think it's just how the fact that they can get like when I do an acoustic song, for example, if I just do acoustic guitar and vocals, I find it really hard to like have them gel together and kind of sound like a full song. So the fact that they're doing that, like I'm all about just layering it and layering it and layering it. And the fact that they can get that sound from just bass, drums, and guitar and nothing else is fucking. It's just sick. It is really cool, and they're probably really proud that they could do that as well. Obviously, it's just one of those things that it does get a bit boring. I think Royal Blood is one of those bands that like I go through phases of listening to. So like I'll listen to them for a bit, get really bored of them, come back a year later, and they'll be fine. Can we stop doing this? It's really distracting me.
Basically, for clarity, we keep putting stuff in our chat, and it's distracting you.
Such arseholes.
They're putting like pictures of feet and Big Cheese, which is like a mouse mascot.
How did anyone think that was a child's like?
It's fucking horrifying.
Playing the bass. Oh, I played the bass.
What's your third favourite?
My third favourite was Careless. Pretty good stuff.
Can't be too careless anymore.
One more. Right, I'm done.
My second favourite was Little Monster. See, I thought my favourites were going to be like all the ones that people thought were good, and I think the only one I really had in there was Little Monster. I think Out of the Black's probably the most overplayed. Figure It Out's another overplayed one, but iconic, like you say. But my favourite was Come On Over. I felt like it had just like kind of the funkiest thing. To be honest, like if it was my first time listening to this, it probably would have been one of those other ones that people find the most. But I've just heard them too much, and they're just boring to me now. So Come On Over.
Different.
Obviously, I've heard so much.
He's a big Royal Blood fan.
He loves them. They're his favourite band.
They're not my favourite band.
What are you talking about?
They're not my favourite band.
I don't understand.
I like them though.
You're not allowed to like them. Name 20 of their songs.
Name 20 songs by Royal Blood.
Oh, you like maths? You like maths, Joe? Name every number.
Look, I wasn't judging Joe. It was just the fact that usually you're like so like what's the word? Expressive about things that you like.
Yes,
but I don't even know if this is mentioned in the podcast.
That I like there's a lot of things that I like. Watches that I don't really go on about liking watches that much.
I think wasn't it Will that said he likes musicals, and like
yes, that was a similar thing.
Never ever expressed liking in musicals,
and not
whatsoever.
Since.
Because it's weird, that isn't it?
Having lived with him for now, like 3 weeks,
he's
never seen a musical.
Musicals, yeah. It's almost like he would. Fuck off, Will.
I don't live for musicals.
I've played more musical music.
I don't need to express everything.
You're different, are you? You're
me
different.
Liking Royal Blood is a passive thing. I don't have to express every day that I like
musicals, them. Will. Name 20.
No, for fuck right.
To be fair, I think they've done you here, Will. They've done you.
Expressive in the sense that he'll tell you everything he likes.
Yeah, but there's a lot of bands that I like that I'm probably not going to ever tell you about because it just won't pop up.
Hi, my name's Foreskin Slitter, and this song's called Killing Babies.
Oh, my favourite.
I'm really a big fan of JMMD, but I don't go on about it.
I've showed you, been in the car with you, Joe, and we've had Royal Blood on it, and I've said, like, I fucking love it, and you've never said anything, whereas usually you're, like, super expressive about it. That was my only argument. It's like, I was just
why?
If you had it on.
Right, just let's hold it back. Let's hold it back. What reason do I have to lie about liking Royal Blood?
I mean, you don't have a reason. I'm telling you, and you get.
I don't. You're telling me. You're telling me.
Surprised
that
you
right.
I've never expressed such a thing for him before. That's why I'm not attacking you. I'm just like.
It feels like an attack.
Yeah, you're getting defensive for no reason, and you were last time. All I was saying was, I've never heard you talk about them before, whereas you usually express when you really like something. That was all I was saying.
Well, wrong.
Okay, well, fine, you're into him. That's cool, but like, you know, I just don't. I'm fucking confused. Fuck's sake.
Just no.
Oh, ratings
8.5.
4.
8.
7.5.
Well, it scores 28.
I wanted it to be a 30.
That did not deserve to be a 30.
I don't know. 4 is fucking rough.
I said it was literally meh. It was like worse than meh. I hate
worse
it.
Than meh, as we determined last week, meh is a 5, and
worse than meh is a 4.
So it checks out.
I've done the maths.
I think meh is a 4 and 5 is an average.
Well, that's because you're Will Davey, and Will Davey's different.
No, it's just fucking right. No meh is a fucking 5.
Language, please. This is a PG podcast.
Sorry.
Well, no, meh is perfectly a 5 because it's not good or it's not bad. It's just meh.
Nah, meh's like disappointed.
You're like the people who make game review ratings, and average is 7.
Meh is like disappointed.
Wasn't that what Joe had? That was literally what Joe did at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what Joe did with our
review. He was rating shit at like a 7.
That was just like meh.
It was like awful.
A 5 was like the worst thing ever listened to.
That's funny.
Sort of fix that now. Right, what's the next album, Joe?
We're bringing it back.
Metal then.
We're bringing it back to my celebrity crush.
Oh shit!
It's gonna be Against the Current, boys, in our bones.
Here we go.
It's not the reaction I want.
Yeah, I like that, Joe. It's a good album. It's the better album.
It's the better album, yeah.
Which ones are the good ones on this one? Oh, Chasing Ghosts. That's the only good one. I remember.
Is it Shit Paramore again?
Sorry, it's all right,
Shut
Denver.
up,
We're
Will.
driving up, so.
Shut up, Will.
I'm
not liking this negativity. You're doing an Aidan, and you're already against it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
How dare you? I never have justified hatred towards albums.
And to be fair,
shut up, Joe.
The last album didn't get a bad reception.
What? The Against the Current? No, it was fine.
Right.
It was
you
vanilla,
literally listened to it yesterday, Will, and it was in your best playlist.
Oh, wow.
So don't you be shitting on it.
You don't like Against the Current.
Look at hypocrite over here.
He's doing the opposite, Joe, now. He's claiming he hates it, and he actually fucking loves
like it, and he does. It's a guilty pleasure.
I was doing it to get a reaction out of you, fucking bitches.
I'm never triggered.
Fuck you, Will.
The thing is, though, I remember last time listening to the Past Lives album and being like, it's kind of meh, but then like over time, it's grown on me. Like,
to be fair, Past Lives album is like a lot better than like we rated it. I think anyway.
I remember I also giving it like a 4 because I was, but then like, it's definitely grown.
Have a look. How long ago was it we did it? It was a while, right?
Hello.
It's the fuss, isn't it?
What's the first fuss about? I like the way your car smells my cigarettes and my ashtray.
Okay.
Will gave it a 4 before.
A 4?
Fucking hell, Will.
Yeah, it deserves a 6 at least.
Whoa.
Aidan gave it a 6.
Hey, I knew.
And this is the better one. What did I give it, Denver?
An 8.
Probably like a 9.
An 8, nice.
And it scored 26.5 last time. Let's see if the original OG one does better. But I think it's going to be that classic thing of like, the better songs are better, but the worse the songs are worse thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that album, the other Against the Current album, is just so fucking safe. Like, it does not push any boundaries.
Yeah. So, any closing thoughts, Joe?
Did you know that dolphins actually have names for each other?